So pretty much last time I was just doing outlines and filling in the dark areas, and I'm still sort of doing that. I'm almost there, but I've sort of left the face for last because, well, faces tend to be fairly difficult. We see them a lot, so we know when they're wrong. So I'm just trying to quickly sketch out the face, get the proportions right, the spacing right. And I'm not happy with it, so let's erase and try again. The eyes felt a little too low because I don't know, they just were too low. I was, I guess, not taking into account the shadow on the head, and so I was having too big of a gap for the forehead when most of it is concealed by his helmet. So now I'm using my magic herb eraser, and I'm going over the dark areas, and I'm pulling the charcoal around, smudging it with the eraser itself. And I do this for two things. So one, it smooths it and gives it a different appearance, a different look instead of the harsh roughness of the charcoal. But also it allows me to pull it and move it around and help use that to define the values and help give it a sense of depth. And so in some areas, I'm actually not just moving around the charcoal and smoothing it out, but I'm actually adding charcoal because I'm using the charcoal that's on the eraser in areas where there were no charcoal at all. So you can see that here on the on his armor. And we'll do that some with the cloth that he has sort of draped around his neck and shoulders, as well as this little cloth that he's holding in his hand here. And it doesn't give me near as dark of a value as the pure charcoal does. It gives me kind of a mid-tone, which I'm already adding on top of sort of a medium value paper anyway, so it gives me sort of a in between the dark and the middle value. As I'm doing this, I'm also sort of using the charcoal on the eraser to sort of help block out the shapes as well, and that helps me redefine if I have things in the right areas, as well as helping to define his appearance, the way that he looks. And I need to do that with the helm quite a bit too. So by adding in lights and darknesses and sort of some mid-tones with the eraser, I can help define the way we perceive the helm here. It still doesn't look quite right, but in my opinion, it's not really the main point. You know, the helm is secondary, so as long as it's, has an approximate likeness, I'm okay with that. So I'm going back in here into some of the dark areas, building them a little bit darker with the charcoal. Now that I've smoothed stuff around, I lost some of that darkness, so I'm adding some of it back. And then just redefining some of the spots that I feel I need to. Create a little bit more sense of depth by adding a little bit of variation in the darkness now that I've softened everything. And defining some of the individual details that I hadn't done yet, like his individual fingers. Smooth stuff out with the eraser again. Go back in, define the edges of his face, edge of his nose. I'm having a little bit of trouble with his nose. I can't quite get it to look the way that I'm happy with. Sort of the bottom of the finger, and then behind the bottom of the finger you can see a little bit of his mouth, and it's a little tricky to get right, so it's going to take me a few tries. I'm going to kind of go back and forth between his other facial features. I add a little bit of charcoal to define the nose, and then I'm reworking it a little bit with the eraser and going back and forth between the two. Touch up his eyebrows, and then start to work on his actual eyes themselves, the shape of the eyes. Not really sure if I'm happy with that first one, but I'm going to go ahead and just keep going for now and keep working, and as I build on the rest I can decide if I like its placement and its size and the lines that I've used for it. Carefully trying to use the edge, the uppermost edge. No, I don't like that eye. I'll go ahead and try that again. It was just too far away from his nose, too much space. Touch up the other eye just a little bit. Not erasing it, just softening some of the lines. Okay, so we're going to try this again, I think. We'll add in some shadows. Can use that to space the face a little bit. I think I had drawn it with a little bit too much white space on the edge, and so I had it fill up more space than it should have. So we're trying this again.